Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for F1 2020 action as per usual. Season 5 Division 1 as we take in round 11 of the championship. It's the Spanish Grand Prix from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always here in Division 1. And joining me in the commentary box, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how you doing?
Doing brilliant as always, and it's a pleasure to be here for the Spanish Grand Prix, the site of our first commentary together last season in Division 1. It was a lot earlier on in the season than round 11. I believe it was like round 5 or round 6. But yeah, we do come back here, and this will be a really, really exciting race. Last time we actually came here in Season 4, Montana probably had his worst race of the season, and he's hoping now that he's taken the championship lead that he probably won't be repeating that same fate.
I don't think it was his worst race of the season. I thought it was his worst race possibly of all time here in League of Europe. Being down out of the points and about 15th, 16th I think he finished last season. That was a tragedy for him out on track. He got the strategy completely wrong in qualifying. Anyways, we'll focus on the action tonight, and Montana is the man who was taking the championship lead coming off the back of Japan. M. Short is in second on 130 points, Montana on 130-60, Daniel third on 103, Verstappen fourth on 94, Zhao was fifth on 79, Justas in sixth on 71, with Connor in seventh on 69, Alphatrix in eighth on 62, Campbell in ninth on 55, and Lando, now under Relentless Nathan, he's in 10th on 50 points. Neo is in 11th on 43, Hardy 12th on 33 along with Rocco, Vaporizer 14th on 21, Kumbly and Ewan 15th and 16th on 12 and 10, Toxic 17th on 7, Yulbream 18th on 6, Kuka Games in 19th on 5, Chapelelli and Ruta on tied for 20th on 2 points. Montana's only got a 6-point lead coming into tonight, Dan. D. Daniel's not entirely out of this either. How do you see it panning out on track tonight?
I'm certainly thinking that we're going to see a very hotly contested fight between the two championship rivals. Of course, it was poised, Montana, to make a move on M. Short in the last race for the lead of the Grand Prix until it all went wrong for the former championship leader of M. Short. Of course, he disconnected and he only finished with 3 points on the board. So he's going to want to hope that his internet provider is going to be a little bit more secure, we could say, than last week, and he could just hold out hope and finish the race, because he was in the lead, and he certainly could have been probably ahead coming to this race if he didn't disconnect.
Yeah, I'm sure the M. Short fan club will update us, I'm sure, about his internet connection issues. Hopefully they have all been fixed as a result of last week's disconnection, and hopefully it's the case where he's going to try and return to something like his best from a couple of races ago, of course. Looking at the team standings as well, Racing Point lead the way on 239 points, McLaren in second on 173, Renault third on 149, Red Bull in fourth on 131, Racing Point leading the championship, Alfa Romeo in fifth on 110, Mercedes sixth on 83, Williams seventh on 76. Looking down the others is Haas in eighth on 40, Ferrari in ninth on 37, and AlphaTauri in 10th on 21. Racing Point have got a stranglehold. I've got to be honest, in terms of the constructors. McLaren 173 points, Racing Point on 239. Looks to me as if Racing Point could try and extend the lead here tonight.
Yeah, of course, they had a massive gap coming into this one there. I can't do the maths in my head, but I believe it is around about maybe 46. No, even more than that. A lot of points, let's just say, between themselves and McLaren, and that is due to McLaren's really, really poor performance in the last race. Of course, it wasn't M. Short's fault on his own, but Neo also spent his first race outside the points. He's been in the points for every single race of the season, aside from Japan. So that run of consistency is over. It was really just a disaster all round for the McLaren team, dropping quite a lot of points. They dropped 23 points to their rivals in the last round. So yeah, in this race, Racing Point going to certainly want to extend on that championship lead that they've got so far, the throttle that they've really got around all the other drivers' necks in every other team. So hopefully, for their sakes, they can maybe pull some points back on that Pink Panther team.
Yeah, hopefully so. McLaren obviously have been looking quite strong. Obviously, M. Schultz's disconnection didn't really give them as many points as what they would have hoped last week. However, we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, 4.6 mile in length with 33 laps awaiting these drivers out on track. Hamilton took the win, of course, 2017, 18 and 19 in real life. There are the two DRS zones, one down the start-finish straight, one down what I like to call the back straight, down and towards turn 10, and of course it'll be a reprofile turn 10 when we come to Spain in just 2 weeks' time, of course. I should say 3 weeks' time, because Portimao is, of course, the race before that, Imola being this weekend, of course. And if you have not watched qualifying, I'm not going to ruin it for you, don't worry. I haven't caught it myself. However, I have seen who's on pole position. Whoever will be on pole position here tonight, though, in League of Europe, will remain to be seen as beautiful blue skies in Spain.
Yeah, as expected from the very beautiful place in Catalonia. So I believe that's near around Valencia region, if I'm not mistaken. I have no clue actually where this track is in Spain. I'm just completely guessing. That's why I took history for GCC instead of geography. But Montana is the first out on circuit, like we are so used to him doing. Although in the last couple of weeks he wasn't the first driver out on circuit, and I'm just thinking this race is gonna come in with a vengeance for that last time out in Spain many moons ago. It was in September we last came to this circuit. I'm trying to find him on the grid. He started 15th on a medium tyre, and Alphatrix was on pole on the medium tyre as well. So yeah, it was not a good qualifying session from him. Maybe that is his sort of weak point around this circuit, but possibly he could maybe just correct that tonight. Everyone does grow, everyone does change as a driver, and I think probably his qualifying pace has certainly improved.
Jav saying it's in Barcelona. It's actually,
right.
Funny enough, actually, this track is nowhere near Barcelona if you actually take in the geography of it. It's something like, I think, 12 mile on the outskirts of Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually nowhere near the city centre of Barcelona. Anyways, enough about geography. Coming through the final couple of quarters here out on track with Montana. He's about to come through turn 16. And now, to start us off on a lap, the Racing Point, the Swiss man, the two-time League of Europe Formula 1 champion, as he now runs down in towards turn 1. And let's see how much speed he is going to get. 203 mile an hour on the braking zone, just at the 50-metre board. Gets the car turned in very nicely. Coming through turn 2 and then through turn 3. Yellow flags in sector 3. Don't worry about them whatsoever, as now Montana takes a thin line coming through turn 3. Then through turn 4, 20.9 through the first sector, as he now comes through turn 4 at Repsol, down in towards turn 5 at Seat. Of course, these are the traditional, the sponsored corner names around here. Coming through turn 5, then through the kink at 6, and then into this very tricky left and right section of 7 and 8, and it can really catch the car out. Montana looking very nice on the power there, if I've got to be honest. Coming through turn 9, flat out coming through there at 175 mile an hour. Montana now down into the braking zone, 196 recorded, 48.4 coming through the middle sector. And now Montana coming through turn 10, through turn 11, up the hill and towards turn 12. Spanish fans going wide there on the left-hand side, as Montana now flies through down the hill in towards 13, coming out of the apex through 14, then through 15, through the chicane, and now through New Holland at 16. Montana coming across the line. It's a very quick lap to start off the night. Montana, a sub 1:14 already to begin off the night.
Very strong time coming out there from Montana. Alphatrix just crossing the line here. He goes only a slight bit slower than his rival from last season, Campbell, on a 14.0, just about 2/10 off of the back of the two leaders at the moment. There's a Haas about to cross the line. That's Rocco beginning up on his lap, which means there's a McLaren crossing the line. It's going to be M. Shaw on a set of the medium compound tyres. A 14.4 is pretty strong, I'd say, actually, from him there. New driver tonight, I don't recognise the name, Yulmel Matt, if I'm not mistaken there. He does a 14.1 to go into fourth position, so they're all just putting in their times, finishing up on their runs. I believe Yulbream is the next one to finish up.
Yeah, Yulbream, I think, was... I thought he was invalidated, actually. He's coming down through turn 12, on the run down in towards 13. Of course, two normal track layouts around here in Barcelona, Catalonia. It is, of course, the Grand Prix layout that we're on, and the also GP layout, where, of course, it can get a bit confusing if you've seen the meme that has been going about. Gilbream goes into fourth with a 114 flat. Good lap there from him. D. Daniel is on a lap time as well. He's invalid coming through turn 10. Nathan as well, invalid coming through turn 10. If you're wondering who Relentless Nathan is, that is formerly XL Lando. Left the team during the week, and he caught me out certainly last week in League of Europe Formula 2, where I thought he was a newbie, but he turned out to be just Nathan. Well, at least he's given us an easier name now to commentate on as he comes into the pit lane. Not going to lap in, it seems. Connor, though, has just started a lap down into turn 5.
Yeah, he's currently coming to TV3, of course, turn number 7 right here. Really easy to run, just slightly wide and invalidate, also sliding through the corner and up towards the flat out, almost right-hander. He kept it in 7th. Through the apex. I find that I always spin out if I do that one there, but I just know where the limit of the car is. 48.5 through the second sector split, now coming into the tricky third sector through turn number 12, climbing up the hill and into the very difficult part of the circuit where it's so easy to just run over these curves and lose the car. He manages to use them to his advantage, getting actually a little bit more turning throughout the corners, but now at the final corner here comes Connor to cross the line. What time's it going to be? It's going to be a 13.8, just about half a tenth quicker than his teammate Alfred. Just a little bit under half a tenth away from Montana.
Yeah, not a bad lap there from Connor at all. Montana out on top, Connor second, Alpha Trix in third as we approach the first third of qualifying. Hardy for XL out on track coming through turn 9. Just catches on the apex slightly. Looking like a nice competitive lap from Hardy at this moment in time. 48.7, not the quickest we've seen through the middle sector at all. Justas is also on a lap along with Ruta, and actually Hardy is just invalidated coming up the hill through turn 10 up into turn 11. So Hardy invalidating there. He's going to be coming into the pit lane. Will be very frustrated, I think, with that invalidation. Just gave a little bit too much run, but it really can cost you the track limits on this game, and Hardy now comes across the line. Would have been a 14.6, so wouldn't have put him competitive. Chapelletti is invalid coming down the hill. Ruta, I think, is just in front of him, actually about to set a lap. Ruta for Relentless, of course, around the final corner. Is he going to come across the line towards the top end of the field? I think he'll go behind them short. He does. 14.4 out on track. Justas now coming through. 48.4 in the middle sector as well, so he could be looking a run along the likes of Montana and Connor. If I got my words out, that'd be brilliant. Justas now coming through the final couple of corners. Through 15, then through 16, and Justas now towards the line. It's a competitive lap from Justas. Comes across the line, and how's that for aesthetics? 113.999. On the top right, it said 114 flat. We'll take a 113.9.
Yeah, that is a pretty impressive time to achieve there from Justas. He's going to try his hardest to get out of the way of Alpha Trix, who's just begun up on his lap. But you'll notice that a lot of these drivers haven't actually been able to put in their lap so far, and that's just because of how difficult this track is with the track limits.
Alpha Trix is 800 up coming through the first sector. Purple first sector there for Alpha Trix.
Oh, so really impressive here. This could put him, if he it continues to improve on this lap, it could put him ahead of his rivals of Connor and Montana, the only two drivers ahead of him on this circuit. The second sector split is just at the end of the back straight here, running it over the curves, using as much of the track as he can, and he's exactly at a 10th up. So if this is good enough for him, he can be on pole, but Montana is also setting a lap behind him, so it might not be for too long here. I believe Verstappen's just completed a lap to go into 10th position on a set of the medium compound of tyres. Nevertheless, but here comes Alpha Trix through the final sector of this circuit. Zhao Zhao's retired in the pit lane for whatever reason, but Alpha Trix now out the final corner, and it is going to be provisional pole position for Alpha Trix, but Montana, he is right behind him, and he will be improving on this lap, I think.
Yeah, Montana, that was Nathan going up into 5th, I believe, as well, coming across the line. Montana comes across the line, 13.5 to kick off the evening. Montana nearly halfway through qualifying, out on top from Alpha Trix in second, Connor in third. The reason why Zhao Zhao retired, by the way, he had a qualifying ban. I think he went out on a lap to, on an out lap, I should say, to put in his setup. And now he's back into the pit lane and has retired. He hasn't set a fully functioning lap out on track, which is what you can do here in League of Europe. Campbell is on a lap time now coming down the hill. Former race winner, of course, here. Campbell, I think it was last season, if I'm not mistaken, he picked up the winners. Now Campbell comes through the final couple of corners. 600 down, I think that was, through the middle sectors. He now comes toward the line, and he doesn't improve, but he's 1,000th off.
I'm I'm going to be a little bit nitpicky here. Tricks that won last season, but Campbell did come second in that race, so I think I'll let you off on that one. But Spine actually came third in that one. He's not with us anymore in League of Europe, so yeah, what a podium that is. Montana, of course, way down the order in that race, but he is right at the sharp end of the field. 13.4, what a lap that is from Montana, and it completely gave Campbell the middle finger, I think.
It did give Campbell the middle finger. 14 flat there from Campbell as well in 8th position currently. Yulbroom is just behind him out on track, but more than a second separating the top 13 that have set the lap times so far. There's Montana out on top, Alphatrix second, M Short in third. As bless you, was that a sneeze that you just did there on stream?
I had a sip of water and it went down the wrong way and I actually coughed and I muted it just after the first cough, so it sounded a bit like a sneeze there, so I do apologise.
I've never heard anything like that in my life in a commentary box in the same racing world. Montana out on top from Alphatrix and second, M Short in third, but one of his nearest rivals, Montana, Connor, has just started a lap. A little bit of a lock up through turn 1, then through turn 2, and now coming through turn 3. Flat out here. Coming through turn 3 of Renault, and now in towards turn 4 at Repsol, running down in towards the first sector. 200s up through the first sector from Connor. He'd be hoping that his middle sector was better. I think it was a 10th off Montana in that middle sector, so be hoping to try and improve ahead. Down in turn 5, gets the car very nicely on the exit of the curve. Now coming through 6, then through the left-hander of 7 and 8, and now up the hill into the fearsome right-hander of turn 9. Montana out on top, Alphatrix second, M Short in third. Alphatrix is back out on an out lap. There are lap times as well from D. Daniel and Hardy. I think Hardy's the man that's actually behind Connor at this stage, 113.8 from Connor. But D. Daniel on the lap time, he's just came through the middle sector as well. But Connor now coming down the hill in towards turn 13, now down in towards 14, then 15, flying at the corner. He's invalidated coming out, and that's one way to cut across. Are you allowed to do that in League of Europe? I don't know, but Connor anyways did so. Hardy, by the way, was invalid, and now D. Daniel on a set of mediums coming around the final couple of corners. Looking like a good lap here from D. Daniel. Comes across the line, and he goes 11th, 114.4. I think, in the whole grand scheme of things, he's only a second off Montana. If he was to go onto a set of softs, would he improve about a second?
Probably not a second, I'd say. I definitely think he can be competitive with the likes of Neo, Justas and Nathan. You know, he could find a good couple of tenths in that lap. Probably not a second on those medium tyres, on the softs in comparison to the mediums, but certainly there would be a huge advantage, I would say. Just not that drastic, but I'm just thinking about something. The top 4 that we have right now, have we actually seen these 3 really fight it out at all this season?
Not this season.
I don't think we have.
Not this season. I think Japan, possibly between Montana and Connor, that was a really good battle. Alphatrix has just started up on a lap. Justas, by the way, went 4th, 113.7 from Justas as well. I'm on board with Verstappen, coming up the hill through turn 9, and he's got a car just ahead of him out on track. It's a racing point, which leads me to believe it might be D. Daniel on a down lap, as he now is 2 tenths up for Verstappen, coming out of turn 10. Now through turn 11, through turn 12, very off camber that corner through turn 11, then through turn 12, he don't get out of the way to the right hand side. Verstappen now down the hill into 13, then in towards the chicane of 14 and 15, really trying to maximise the exit of that corner. With Verstappen now coming around the final couple of corners, going to be around Nathan's sort of area, I think, with this lap time. In fact, he goes behind him and he goes 10th. In the end with a 114 flat. Could have improved, I think, a little bit in that final sector. Rocco 3 tenths up through the middle.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive time from Verstappen coming out as Montana. Wait, no, that didn't. He didn't improve for some reason. I paused it to look at the race director just to see Verstappen's comparison on times because, of course, he did his initial lap on the medium set. Rocco decides to come into the pit lane here. He's also doing his next run on a set of softs, but he has not decided to complete that one. He actually invalidated on that lap, so I don't think he was going to be able to complete it anyways. But yeah, I was just trying to see the comparisons between Verstappen's previous lap and the lap that he's just set now. It's about 5 tenths you can find on a set of softs in comparison to the mediums. If that ethos is true, we'd say that D. Daniel's around about 7th position on track at the moment, which is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, to be honest, Daniel could probably improve it something like 0.6 to 0.8 of a second on average. I think he can try and gain around this track. Josh is coming around the final couple of corners as well. Newcomer here in Division 1 tonight. Comes across the line. He goes nearly slowest out of everyone. 1:14.6. Looks a little bit out of depth, if I've got to be honest at this stage. But Rocco was behind him. He's on a set of mediums. Ruta 2/10 ahead of him on a set of softs as well. But Montana out on top. M Short second, Nathan in third. Nathan is invalidated on his lap. He'll be coming in to the pit lane soon. M Short is down on his lap time as well. Yulbream, however, is preparing up for a lap, and Yulbream is going to be one of the first to set in possibly what could be his final lap.
Yeah, this is about just over 3 minutes left to go in the session, so he does
I've just totally realised Nathan went third, by the way, 1:13.6. I didn't even notice.
Oh, I didn't realise either. Well, that's a really impressive time for Nathan, of course, winner of the Chinese Grand Prix this season, and he's not been competitive with the top guys since then, but that's a pretty impressive time, a 13.6. Really nice from Nathan there. You'll bring through the first sector split. He's only a little bit up on his previous best time. You can see he's running right to the edge of the circuit, but if he does consistently improve on this lap, he probably could be maybe a 10th or two up. There's not much time to really gain when you are as fast as these drivers. That was very close for Yulbream to lose the car. He's running out wide and using up all the track he can through the second sector split. Was 2/10 up on his previous best lap, so if he can find a 10th or two in this final sector, we could see him maybe challenging for a top 3, top 4 start, possibly. Of course, other drivers yet to set their laps are actually all just coming out on their out laps at the moment, but Yulbream, this could be a very impressive time. He's kept it nice and within track limits, and we'll see crossing the line, third position for him.
God, he was miles off in the first sector as well. His middle sector, turn 9, was where he really hit home on that lap, I think. Turn 9, if you go and watch that back, you cannot take turn 9 flat out than that and run over the curb like he did, and he's gone third with that lap time. If he can improve on his first sector, obviously he's not going to get another lap time in, but if he was to improve in his first sector, then that would be certainly a man to watch out on track. Campbell has just started up on a lap. Hardy, I believe, is our first man, though, out on track. He's now coming through turn 3. The Mercedes now comes through turn 3, and then in towards Repsol at turn 4, and it's 20.8 through the first sector from Hardy. Yet a set of lap time in. The Brit, hopefully, going to try and get a lap time in. Chapelelli as well is on that lap. He is yet to set a time. Jajo, of course, for that qualifying ban, retiring, but looks like Hardy's coming up on a little bit of traffic. Actually, he's got a Haas just in front of him out on track, which I believe might be Josh on a set of soft compound tyre.
Yeah,
it's Rocco.
It's actually Rocco weaving. That was I don't think Hardy would have been too happy about that one. He's not putting a lap at the moment, but 48.5 is pretty decent. I definitely think a top 10 time could come out from him here, but this is the risk that they do run when coming out slightly earlier than the other drugs. The traffic can play havoc. I think Rocco might have been a little bit nervous that he'd have completely ruined Hardy's run, but luckily Hardy didn't hit him or didn't get impeded by him at all. Fine, comes Hardy. He only goes 11th fastest. If he stays there, that'll be really good for his race because he can have a free choice of tyre. But for now, we'll just see where he goes.
Alphatrix, I believe, has just gone up into second, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Alphatrix has gone second, 1:13.642 ahead of M Short. M Short has just started up on a lap as well. Neo, in the meantime, coming through the middle sector. That was pretty much qualifying done. Montana out on top, Alphatrix second, M Short on third at this stage, but plenty of improvements can be found. Neo just hit the curb coming through turn 15, and now comes across the line at 1:13.9 to... A 1:13.9 to beat. He did beat his lap time, but he didn't improve his position out on track. Montana, 1:13.4, sets the quickest lap so far. M Short, 500s down through the first sector. Nathan's only 400s down in the middle sector as well. What is Connor doing? Connor's just ahead of him out on track. He's 200s up, coming through the middle sector. Connor's now going to lay it all on the line to try and get pole position. He's going to absolutely fly, but he doesn't look that quick coming through the chicane. That one had just lost him the time. Montana now around, Connor, ran the final corner, comes across the line. And yeah, absolutely frustrated with that final couple of corners. That chicane really cost him a 1:13.8. He crashes out of qualifying in dramatic style. M Short, however, improving by nearly a 10th of a second. He could still get pole position, based off this, if he really nails the final two corners, a little bit wayward coming out of 14, through 15, and now through the final corner at 16. M Short now on the brink to try and improve. He does improve and he goes second. Good lap time there, but I think that is the end of qualifying. Hardy is on a lap, I believe. No, he's invalidated that on track. That is the end then of qualifying with Alphatrix also out there. Montana out on top, 2/10 of a second ahead of his nearest championship rival, M Short. Alphatrix also in third, and plenty of drivers on a 1:13.6.
That's a really strong time coming up from Montana, smashing it completely out of the water. We just got to wait for Alphatrix to hopefully retire once he hits the pit lane, and then we can get into the race. We got to watch the entire 18 minutes of qualifying because it went wet in the last race, and no one was able to improve on their times. And we finished with about maybe 8, 9, I don't really remember actually, but however many minutes to go. The results are on your screen. Montana 13.4. If he can carry that over to the race, he will be almost an unstoppable force.
Yeah, he'll be the man to beat. I think he got caught up in an incident with Alphatrix last season, if I'm not mistaken, down and towards turn 1. But Montana is out on top from M Short in second, Alphatrix in third with Yulbream in fourth, Nathan running off the top 5 with Justas in sixth, Yul Melmat in seventh, Connor in eighth, Neo in ninth, and Campbell running off the top 10. Verstappen in 11th, Daniel 12th, Hardy and Rocco started on the 7th row of the grid, 13th and 14th, Reuter 15th, Josh in 16th, Schiaparelli in 17th, the only man to set a lap time on a set of medium compound tyres. Zhao Zhao's qualifying ban really cost him in the end. He's down at the back of the field, and Zhao Zhao will be hoping to try and make up a lot of ground right from the back. But he does get a free choice of tyre, I should say, as do, of course, 11th down to 18th. So it could be quite fascinating in terms of the strategy, especially around such a high degradation circuit as Spain.
Yeah, this is a very tricky place for the tyres. I do believe they bring the hardest possible compounds, the C1, C2 and C3, and that's still not enough. This is a pretty low grip circuit, so a lot is needed from the tyres to really help the car actually get around a lap quickly. We should expect soft to hard or medium to hard. Definitely will not be seeing any soft to mediums. Two-stopper probably isn't the smartest idea around it either, so I definitely think that it's just going to go soft, hard, medium, hard.
Yeah, it's going to be quite fascinating, I think, in terms of the strategy. Of course, the bottom 8 drivers can start on that free choice of tyre. Of course, the top 10 qualifying on a set of soft compound tyres. I can see in Charles Leclerc's garage, he's got the hard compound tyre out. However, he is not racing out on track. Obviously, the Monacanese driver trying to get out there for a little bit of practice before he comes to Spain. But 33 laps awaiting these guys out on track, and quite a mix-up on the strategies by the seams of it. Top 10, of course, qualifying on a set of softs. The hards seem to be the tie to go for. Verstappen, Daniel, Josh, Schiaparelli and Zhao Zhao, all on a set of hards. Mediums, Hardy, Rocco and Reuter. Is a one-stop possible around here from mediums to hards?
Yeah, it is most certainly possible, and it goes the same way with hard to medium. Of course, the drivers at the beginning on the hards, they're going to want to bank on staying with the top drivers who are on a set of softs, which is going to be a huge difference around a circuit like this. So they do have to work as hard as they can to really push the tyres and keep up with the top 10 who are on the tyre they qualified on, all of them on a set of these softs. So of course, they do have the advantage of later on in the race they'll be on fresher tyres, much softer tyres, and of course they will be lighter on fuel, less wear being put into the tyres, so they could probably extend their hard stint a little bit and go for a bit of an undercut on the drivers around them and not really face consequences of it.
Yeah, Montana then out on top, M Short in second, Alphatrix in third, and hopefully, as you say, all of those guys will not face the consequences. Predicted pit stop strategy, 2-stop, lap 6 to 8, lap 18 to 22 from a set of softs, trim a set of mediums, just set of hards. How about AWS graphics? Really do like to throw up some very weird strategies in terms of the tyres here. Do not trust them. Obviously, I think for a set of soft compound tyres, you'll be pitting in very early, I would imagine, from around lap 4, lap 5 around here. And then on to set of mediums, you'll be looking at about lap 12, lap 13 to go on to set of hards for 20 laps or so. And then on set of hards, be trying to make them last as long as possible throughout this race to try and get to the end, maybe for one stop on set of softs. But, however, I'm going to come across to my co-coms. Dan, who's your top 3?
Oh, my top 3, I'm going to say Montana wins this race, Alphatrix in second, and I think Connor will come up from 8th.
Yeah, Connor down in 8th position as a result of his times. Yulbreen, by the way, improved up to 4th at the end of qualifying. There is the run down in towards turn 1. The longest run, one of the longest runs in Formula 1, is about to begin. Round 11 of the championship here in League of Europe. And it's underway. Montana gets a very good start. M Short gets a very good start as well. And M Short looks like he's got the run down in towards turn 1. Montana trying to cut across, but M Short is still there. He's got the overtake mode out, trying to use it down the inside line. No, Montana holds the lead through turn 1. M Short in second, Alphatrix in third. Yulbreen and Nathan going side by side, coming out. There's all sorts of carnage in the background. That's Josh round, I think, caught up in an instant with Nathan. Nathan has been caught up in an instant with Josh, and a safety car has been deployed immediately as a result of that contact. Nathan all the way down into 18. A lot of carnage coming through turn 3.
Yeah, I wonder what happened with Nathan there. I didn't see anything from him. All I just knew was that he was in the wall at the end of it. I saw a Renault car. Yeah, he's got huge damage, missing a lot of that left side of his front wing. But I did see a Renault car going straight over the bumps at between turn 1 and turn 2. Yeah, it was Campbell, and Campbell also has damage on that left side, so I wonder if he maybe came back onto the circuit in the wrong place and possibly hit Nathan. Of course, if that is the case, as should, we'll probably be hearing about that one, but we already have a safety car on lap number 1. We didn't even get through the first sector without the safety car coming out, so I wonder what drivers will do. I don't think the hards will make it to the end, so I don't think any of the soft runners will come into the pit lane, but that possibly could be the strategy. I think it's definitely helps out some of the hard runners though, and the medium drivers as well.
Yeah, Roots are gaining 6 positions. Jow Jow's already up 7 as well. I think it's time for our resident Hangman play to show his hand in our comment section. Yul Melmat is into the pit lane as well. He's on from a set of soft compounded tyres. I don't think he picked up damage actually out on track. Look at how many drivers are coming into the pit. Little Neil, D. Daniel, Campbell, Rocco, and Nathan. Will watch Yul Melmat's pit stop. I don't think he picked up damage. However, he is going to get a front wing change, so there's plenty of damage on that car by the looks. Neo getting damage as well. D. Daniel getting a front wing repair. So is Campbell. So is Nathan. 6 drivers caught up in some sort of incident. Rocco was the one that didn't get caught up in an incident. He is getting a front wing repair. He's going to be out of the pit lane pretty much in dead last position. All of those 6 guys that came into the pit lane had a front wing change.
Yeah, that is quite something, I would say. 6 drivers getting damage in the first corner. It must have just been some sort of crazy chain effect where one slight incident caused another, and then it caused another, and so on and so forth. But spread out grid, we probably could see a safety car out maybe a number of laps more. Of course, it does have to do 2 mandatory laps, and then it will come into the pit lane, and that is at the very earliest. But if the field is still pretty spread out, then the safety car will wait for drivers to catch up. And I don't think, as Josh and Chapelele have made contact, I think Josh might not have been able to predict Chapelele's maybe his turning or his braking, sorry. I've got a horrible camera angle. I'm just trying to see if Josh does have damage. It doesn't look like it.
Oh. I thought Hardy had damage, but he didn't. Yeah, Josh I don't think has got damage on that car, unless it's very, very light damage on that. It looks like he's just rear-ended him perfectly, to be honest, and yeah, no damage. Well, as I say perfectly, you never want to rear-end another driver in front of you. That's what I'm... never do that. Chapelele is coming in, though, in from the pit stops, and Josh is in as well. Are these putting in, I wonder, for a 5-second penalty serve-up?
Two do have 5 seconds, so I guess maybe they want to serve it whilst under the safety car period, just to get it off their backs, and it won't be applied to the end of their race time. You see, both of them getting their penalties served. Chapelele going onto the medium tyres, as is Josh, the pair of them on that yellow wall tyre, as is a lot of the field. Pretty much all the drivers, except for Rocco, came in for that compound, so that does confirm that they are doing a 2-stop. Everyone from Yulma down to 18th position of Josh, two newcomers in this division. That's quite fitting that they are all they're kind of sandwiching all the drivers who have had incidents and have had to come to the pit lane, but that could maybe bless them later on in the race. We'll just have to see how things unfold.
Yeah, of course. Josh down in 18th position, fresh out the pit lane. Nathan, Rocco and Chapelletti haven't got up to the pit lane just at the pit lane. They haven't got up to the back of the queue just yet. I don't know why, because they came into the pit lane. That's why I'm thinking that. Montana's out on top though. M Short in second, Alpha Trix in third. You really haven't missed anything at all, apart from the turn 3 carnage that brought 6 drivers in to replace their front wing. Safety car, I think, is going to stay out another lap possibly, unless it comes out. Oh, actually, just saying that. What does the commentator know? Safety car is in this lap, and now Montana is the virtual pit monitor. He is the safety car now, essentially out on track, and his job now is to back up everyone to a very consistent pace, and this is perfect. About 70-80 mile an hour normally is what I tend to go for, but Montana's slowing it down, and now coming out through turn 13, I think he's going to go, as soon as the safety car crosses that white line, he is going to go on the exit of the chicane through 15, and there he goes. Montana has gone, and look at the gap he has pulled to M Short. It's 0.8 of a second already. Overtake mode used up as well. Montana leads the way then, crossing the line. We're back in the way in Spain. Alpha Trix in second, M Short trying to get heat into those tyres as well. Very cold tyres it seems from those guys on the set of softs. Further down the field though, D Daniel going side by side with Neil running down in towards turn 1, tries to go all the way around the outside. This will be bold and brave from D Daniel. It's brilliant if he can pull it off. There's a spin. Hardy just about spears across track, nearly catches D Daniel off, and D Daniel trying to go for the outside line move on Neo, didn't. Both of them nearly got caught up in a bit of carnage there. Nathan now down on the inside line of D Daniel. Nathan takes full advantage of that D Daniel mistake, or D Daniel having to take avoiding action from Hardy. Hardy is round. He is now pretty much out of contention. Montana leads then under the safety car start.
Yeah, both of the Mercedes having issues at that first part of the circuit, and Hardy, well, the safety car's not going to save him this time as Josh gets past his teammate. Of course, fresher tyres for him is going to really help him out, but almost, even though DRS isn't activated until 2 laps after safety cars, we've got to go through this lap, and then on lap number 6, the DRS will then be enabled. Their first usage of through the back straight on the run up towards turn at number 10, but Montana has almost already dropped M Short out of that, really asserting his dominance in this race early on. It seems like Connor also wants to get a movement because he's using some of his overtake to try and catch up to Yulbreen. Just turns it off once they approach the first corner, but Yulbreen seemingly losing quite a bit of time to the back of Alpha Trix, so he just really can't keep up with the Red Bull driver. He's in a bit of a Red Bull sandwich at the moment, but I think Connor is going to want to try and get a move on, catch up to him in the next couple of laps, and then go for it as soon as possible.
Well, if it's anything like his performance in Japan, he'll be trying to really excel out on track and try and get through these guys out on track. It looks to me those Justas behind him might be a little bit quicker than him at this stage. They've pulled away from Verstappen and the likes of behind. Ruta and Zhao Zhao also in that. Zhao Zhao really impressed with his start. He's up 9 positions early from that qualifying ban. He's on a set of hard compound tyres. He should be the man to watch, I think, in this race, along with Verstappen. Both of them, of course, on a set of hard compound of tyres. But Montana leads the way. M Short in second, Alpha Trix in third. You'll bring fourth. Connor fifth. Justas in sixth. Montana's got a controlling lead by 0.9 of a second. There's M Short, his nearest championship rival. M Short just locking up there into the chicane, and he's just lost a little bit of time there. Alpha Trix now on the back. You'll bring Connor and Justas fourth, fifth, and sixth. New fastest laps, of course, being set, because we only got basically one sector worth of running. Jaja now closing in on the back of Ruta, running down the straight. No DRS enabled until next time around, and even that won't be enabled until we get towards turn 10 once again. Jaja on the back of Ruta, fighting for 8th position, and Jaja will be hoping to try and get this move done.
Yeah, seems like Ruta's kind of struggling for paces. Matt picks up a 3-second time penalty, the first of the day, for only on for 3 warnings. I assume he did that on the exit of turn number 3, but he's round to the back of his teammates. There's yellow flags once again in sector 1, and it's Hardy again chipping off his M plate. You can see it's missing on that right hand side, but Walter crucially has lost DRS just about to Verstappen in front of him. Those medium tyres seemingly not working too well for him, using up some of his overtake to try and defend from Zhao Zhao, but I don't think Zhao Zhao was going to try and attack that one. He got very close to the back of the Ferrari car. Luckily, didn't hit him. That's put him back into the path of Yulma Matt, who's got just slightly fresher tyres than Wouter in front of him. Of course, he is the leader of the drivers who did pit in the first stage, but this time by, I think Zhao Zhao is going to try for the move on Wouter. He gets a very, very bad run through here, though. Turn 15, he's going to have to use some of his overtake up down the straightaway, and the DRS as well going to be assisting him in this manoeuvre if he can get close enough, as Connor further up the road is also making a move on your Bream, as there goes Zhao Zhao up the inside of Wouter. He's managed to make that one stick and could push him back into the path of Yulma Matt now.
Yeah, Wouter right on the back of Zhao Zhao. He's in an Alfa Romeo sandwich at this stage. Wouter, 8th, 9th and 10th. These guys are Neo in behind as well. Looking though, Connor has made a position on Yulbrim. That was down the inside. I literally caught the end of that move. Connor down the inside of turn 1 gets the move done, similar to what we saw with Zhao Zhao, through, and he's up into 4th and now can try and push on his teammate on the back. We've had a comment, by the way, from a very random guy in the comment section, I may just say. Tink, you are the European champions of F1. Well, you need to correct your spelling first and foremost. Montana out on top, M Short in second, Alpha Trix in third, but definitely not the European champions of F1. Someone might be the European champions of the Champions League, maybe in a few seasons' time. Am I wishful thinking there? I don't know. Yulbrim on the back of Connor still.
Yeah, I think that's pretty wishful thinking. I'm going to put it to you bluntly there as yellow flags, and that is Josh on his Division 1 debut. Seems like a lot of drivers coming a cropper early on to just, I think, just dropping it on traction. These guys not really getting close to anyone. Hardy's dropped it in the same place twice, so it seems like they are all just really struggling with the traction zones around this track. I'd assume that Josh probably didn't short shift his way, which is probably the way to go about turn at number 12. It seems like further back down the order is where the brunt of the battles are taking place. Zhao Zhao leading the train. He's about 1.1 seconds off the back of Verstappen, who is sort of in no man's land in 7th position, but this is a really good place for the Dutchman to be in. He's going to be going potentially onto a set of mediums at the end of the Grand Prix and be a lot quicker than the soft runners at the moment. They'll be on a set of hards at the end, so you can't count Verstappen out. He doesn't seem like he's too quick at the moment, but he is certainly going to be at the end of the race.
Yeah, Zhao Zhao actually closing in on Verstappen, and he looks like the quickest man out on track on a set of hard compounder tyres currently, because Rocco and Hardy obviously on a set of hards further down the field as well. But Zhao Zhao seems to me as if he's got the pace over Verstappen. If it's anything like his TTML performance in Division 1 during the week, then he'll be on absolute fire out on track to try and get onto the back of Verstappen running down this straight. He will open the DRS, he will not be close enough, however, running down the straight. You'll Melmat, I should say, right on the back of Wouter. Wouter hasn't got any DRS running down the straight here. Campbell closing up on Neo as well. You'll Melmat though dives to the inside line through turn 1, then through turn 2, tries to go all the way around the outside of the traction there for turn 3. Brilliant stuff by Yul Melmat. He is through and he's up into 9th position. Alfa Romeo getting through on a Ferrari. Neo hanging off the attentions as well of Campbell in behind. Nathan and D. Daniel not entirely out of this either, but Yul Melmat down the inside line, got the move done, got the traction coming out of turn 3 and got the move done, and he's up into 9th.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from our debutant tonight. He's on slightly fresher medium tyres than Wouter, which I definitely do think helped him in the traction zone and also rising up the hill and sort of the off-camber corner. But Wouter just slipping back down the order. I think those tyres are getting the best of him. He might have some slight wing damage. I don't think he pitted at all in this race so far, so maybe he didn't get that one fixed, but he just seems like he's a bit weak in pace in comparison to the drivers behind him, so it might be worth him trying to get an undercut. Yul Milner, that's another penalty for him. 6 seconds for the Alfa Romeo driver in his debut. You can be quick, but if you're picking up a bunch of penalties, well, you're going to be right down the order, so it's very... He does need to rein it in a bit, I think, with the aggression, but now Wouter losing a lot of time to him as well, so that's going to push him to the back of Neo and Campbell and the likes behind them.
Yeah, everyone's stuck at a big DRS train out on track. Yul Melmat obviously picking up those 6 seconds time penalties now out on track. Could cost them towards the end of the race. Of course, it is a very big track to pick up penalties at here, especially through that chicane, through 14 and 15. That might be the pinpoint out on track of where to go. Daniel, though, on the back of Nathan. He's on the back of what we like to call here in Formula 1 a DRS train. There's also a DRS train further up the field. M Short in second, Alphatrix third, Connor in fourth. And Connor looks like he's got the pace now over Alphatrix. Alphatrix, of course, Season 3 champion here in League of Europe. Season 2, Season 4 champion Montana. Up ahead by about 2.5 seconds at this stage. Just over 2.5 seconds at this stage. Connor, though, trying to get onto the back. Yulbrim's not entirely out of this either. Yulbrim obviously made that mistake. He lost position to Connor, but it looks like he's getting on back on things again. It might just be the case where the drivers ahead of him are locking up, as we see now. Top 3, I should say, in. Connor has stayed out. Justas has stayed out as well. Yulbrim, though, Alphatrix nearly goes into the back of M Short coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, these guys all really pitting at the ideal time. Probably around at this point they would normally be in puncture territory. I think that is the case, and they've decided that they wanted to change up the strategy coming to the pits for their hard tires. Now there's a battle for 7th position on track at the moment. Campbell's soaring around the outside of Neo, and he's made that one stick coming through as Wooter's lagging all over the place.
Wooter's just... Oh, Wooter, yeah, he lagged back. That was a big lack back there. Nathan's trying to go around the outside of Neil, though, in the meantime. 1XL, former teammate, relentless against XL, we like to see here in Division 1. And Nathan now down the inside. I think Jav will be impressed with that one. Nathan's and he's into 7th. Gets his move done on a former XL teammate.
Yeah, that is. He'll be rubbing his hands about that one. He made the right call to sign him, but yeah, Nathan seemingly really quick in this race. Of course, he did have that really strong qualifying, but that damage early on completely ruined his chances of that. He was in the wall at some point, so it was very unfortunate for him. It seems like Chapelet is trying to overtake through here on Daniel. I don't think that is the right call. 2 leaders pitting at this point, as you would have expected. Justas and Connor both going to come in for their pit stops. We'll see where they file out in comparison to their rivals. I want to bring the attention to M Shaw and Alphatrix, because it seems like through the pit stop phase and on this outlap, I think Alphatrix has got a much better time of it than M Shaw, and he might try and overtake him coming down the straightaway here, as they're miles ahead of Justas and Connor. But Alphatrix using his overtake late in the move, and he goes up the inside into turn number 1 in the braking zone. M Shaw doesn't want to fight that one too hard, it seems, as Alphatrix net P2 for the Englishman there, and he could be reunited with his championship rival if he can catch up with Montana. And I say championship rivals last season, these two are fighting for the championship. Montana becoming the 2-time champion, of course.
Oh, how we would love to see Montana and Alphatrix fight. I've wanted it pretty much every time, and we haven't received a battle like what I was imagining, certainly. Daniel was right on the back of Rooter, by the way, coming across down in towards turn 1. Didn't get the move done, but he is on the back now of Rooter ahead of him. He's got 2 lap fresher tyres compared to Rooter, so he'd be going a little bit deeper into this race than the Ferrari ahead. McLaren, though, in front of Neo, still in 6th position. Looks like Zhao Zhao, though, was going to get the move done on Verstappen coming across the line. I think there was a pit stop being made in behind as well. There's not, as Zhao Zhao now comes past him down the pit straight, and Zhao Zhao is through and he's into the lead of the race. Nathan as well is up into 4th, passing on a current QVR driver, QVR Campbell, of course, former race winner, of course, in League of Europe, around Monaco, if I'm not mistaken. Daniel, though, on the back as well of Rooter, further down the field. M Short trying to get back at Alphatrix, not quite close enough. If Alphatrix and M Short fight, though, will Yulbrim come into play and try and spoil the party?
I think Yulbrim has certainly put himself in a good position here, just hanging back from the action and putting himself in a bit of a safe place here where he can't really get any damage. He's got quite a gap back to Justas, who's managed to jump Connor somehow in the pit lane. What's happened to Connor? He's 4.1 seconds off the back of Justas. Maybe he had a bit of damage. I'm just going to quickly
5-second penalty?
He definitely didn't have a penalty. I'm just going to quickly check his on the pit stop time, which is on the race director.
Front wing change?
Yeah, front wing change. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So he must have picked up damage, obviously in one of an incidents further up the field when he was fighting. Maybe on lap 1 he picked up damage and we didn't see it. I don't know, we might have been caught up in that incident, who knows. But pit window apparently now open for a set of hards. Do not trust the AWS graphics. If you are a fond fond viewer of these races. Di Daniel though on the back of Ruta now, diving down the inside line. That is good stuff there by the Dutchman. He is through on his fellow countryman, and Di Daniel through, and he's into 7th position. Ruta on the back of him in 8th. Justas now through on Josh, down into P15 he goes. Justas now through, I should say, into P15, and Josh now down into P16. Connor with a front wing change out on track, really cost him out on track it seems. Zhao Zhao though, just starting to dominate over Verstappen slightly.
Yeah, he's just pulling away ever so slightly in the last couple of laps. Verstappen almost out of DRS range, which is probably keeping him in with Zhao Zhao. Of course, can't remember a time these two have been fighting, but both of these drivers have definitely been around the sharp end of the grid this season. Of course, Zhao Zhao was fighting in Australia, I think, was the last time he was really going for a win, and in China as well, and in the first race where in the wet he was really, really strong. He's a bit of a wet god, I think, in League of Europe, but he's not won a wet race this season as Hardy gets a penalty. He's 39.4 seconds off the back of Connor, so I don't think that's going to affect him too much. But the first of the medium runners coming to the pit lane, that's Wuta, as expected. 13 laps, well actually just about 14 laps on that set of mediums is pretty accurate as to their life, as Montana puts in the fastest lap. He's on the back of Rocco, former NSX teammates. Rocco leaving the team to join Relentless, and this is going to really hamper him if he's got this traffic and he can't get by. I think he must have picked up a warning for the track limits there, but you can see how much he really wants to go for this overtake as soon as possible. Rocco completely spoiling his party.
Yeah, Montana looking to try and make a relentless move on Rocco just ahead of him. Terrible. Montana on the back of Rocco, down in towards turn 5 once again. Lap 15 out of 33, nearly halfway through here in Spain. Zhao Zhao leading the way for Verstappen in 2nd, Yulmail Matt in 3rd. And Mr. Hangman has joined us in the comments section, I can see. Spag and Chips is here. Welcome, Spag. Hope you're enjoying your evening here, and hopefully you're racing in Division 2 later. As now you're about to see, maybe, Montana lunging late, diving down the inside, trying to get the car stopped. I don't think he can get the car stopped. He gets caught on the curb as well. That costs him 7, 8 tenths. Cost him a second. Out on track, he tried to go for a very late dummy down the inside and towards turn 10, didn't pull it off, and a move like that, trying to pull off, might have just cost him, and it has cost him.
Yeah, it's costed him a lot in comparison to Alptrix. Now 1.3 seconds off the back of him. Rocco wants to defend this one here. He's holding to the inside line. Montana's using everything he can down the straightaway. He's got no ERS to disperse of. And this is disastrous for the championship leader. He's losing a lot of time being stuck behind Rocco. He's just got to make a lunge that actually sticks, and then he'll be in a good position. But I think Rocco, he's doing us all a favour by holding up Montana. He's making a race for the lead, of course. Before the pit stop phase, Montana was completely checked out in this race. He was about 2 seconds ahead of his nearest rival in M Short for a long time, and then Alptrix did manage to get by, but now Alptrix closing up. 1.5 seconds is the gap. We'll see if Montana makes the same mistake of going for that move that he did last time. I think he tried to be a bit flashy with it, and it just didn't work out, and he's weaving a little bit down the straightaway as well. He's not going to try go for any ridiculous send like he did, and I think that is going to I think that's probably going to help him lose, I guess, not take too many risks, but the damage might have already been done because Alptrick 1.2 seconds off the back here.
Nathan, sorry, not Nathan into the pit, and Yulmel, Matt Campbell, Neo all into the pit lane. Rocco holding up Montana once again. Montana will be hoping and try and use up that ERS to good effect. Alphatrix behind him has got 30% more ERS out on track, as there is Alphatrix, but there is Montana now on the back of Rocco. Looks to the outside line, he's got no ERS, trying to go around the outside through turn 1. I tell you what, that's brilliant from Montana. That is an inch perfect move. If you would give any less room than that, you would be making contact. Montana has just made what I regard as a champion's move, down on the inside line through turn 1, around the outside through turn 1, on the inside of turn 2. Great stuff. Montana is through, and he's into 5th position, and if that got any closer, that would have ended in disaster.
Well, I think only Montana could have made that move stick. Of course, the 2-time League of Europe champion. Actually be 3 at the end of this. 6 points is the gap in the championship to himself and M Short at this point. He'll be extending that championship lead. I've seen Jeff's comment, and but very kind of him, I'd say.
Very, very kind of him. It's yeah. I'm not going to comment any further. Yul Melmat's on the back of Connor, 12th and 13th out on track for on a point scoring position at this stage. Verstappen and Nathan both into the pit lane as well. Nathan will be hoping to try and make his way up through the field, but Yul Melmat on a fresh set of mediums against Connor on a relatively fresh set of hards out on track. Lap 18 out of 33 about to begin, and now Yul Melmat is pulling into the slipstream. This is easy, and there's Nathan coming out the pit lane, literally on the side of him. Nearly comes out. Yul Melmat just flies through camera shot, and he's up into 11th position. Nathan nearly came out of him. I don't even think he realised that Yul Melmat was coming. He was that close to coming across on the white line. Connor's just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. Nathan fresh out the pit lane, but Yul Melmat crucially through, and he's on the back of Connor. He's up into 11th. And no, I don't.
I think the less said about Spag's comment there, the better. It's certainly making me chuckle. I do love humour, just stupid humour like this. But on lap 18, I'd expect Zhao Zhao to attempt to come to the pits here. He cut over the pit entry line. I think. I don't think anyone's close enough to have seen him do that, so he might get away with that one. But well, we certainly had the eye. Chapelele continuing on, 15 laps, potentially 16, which is pushing the life of these medium tyres as long as they can. They will not make it to the end. We've only got just a couple laps left in them as Verstappen, Josh was actually coming to the pit lane, and that's why Verstappen managed to get past. But where has Zhao Zhao coming out all this? He's just
ahead of Verstappen.
Just a little bit. Yeah, he's ahead of Verstappen, only about 3.5 off the back of the lead train.
Yeah, and Zhao Zhao has done an undercut actually on Verstappen as well, which is really good indeed. And yeah, I do go camping, but I really do not pull out the tent. Zhao Zhao in 8th position, Verstappen in 9th, Yul Melmat in 10th. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Alphatrix is on the back of Rocco though, and Jav will be paying now attention to my stream rather than his comments. Rocco in 3rd, Alphatrix in 4th, Alphatrix on the back, and is he about to get Rocco for this move? Rocco will be hoping to try and put up a really good defence. He actually hasn't lost that much time in all regards to Montana. He's yet to make a pit stop, obviously. He has made over a pit stop underneath the safety car, but he's yet to make a physical pit stop out on track to obviously go on to the set of strategy, to the set of softs, I would imagine, to the end of the race. Rocco, though, on under pressure here from Alphatrix, and Alphatrix will be hoping to try and get the move done. Needless to say, Rocco's just pulled into the pit lane and Alphatrix is now through.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, maybe the reason that he's fighting this so hard is he's going to try push to the end on this set, but no, he's just going to pull into the pit lane. I think that's the soft tyres. Oh, sorry, it's the medium tyres.
And there's Campbell. Sorry to cut in. There's Campbell on Nathan for 11th position. Down the inside he goes. Scotsman on the Brit. The Brit's not holding up any further. Trying to go on the inside line. He just got cut up slightly there by Campbell, but Campbell is through and he's into 11th position. I think he was always going to lose the move there, to be honest, Nathan. However harsh I might say that, I think it was true. Campbell then through and he's into 11th. He's on a set of mediums. Nathan now has to defend from his old rival and old teammate XL Neo once again.
Yeah, I think this is the power that the medium tyres have. I don't think Nathan will be able to put much up of a fight in this race. I'm surprised that he's gone on to a set of hard compound of tyres when he's been on at least 2 sets. He's done the SMH strategy. I'm shaking my head at that one. That is, I don't think it was ideal. He probably could have gone onto a set of mediums unless he used it up in qualifying a bit too much and he didn't want to maybe push the life of them too much. But yeah, at this point the medium tyres are nigh on much quicker than the hards. That is just shown by Zhao Zhao's in clear air. He's not even using the assistance of DRS. He's gained about a second since he came out the pit, so he's about half a tenth a lap, and he's pulling the train of Verstappen and Yul Melmat behind as he's weaving there as well.
Neil weaves going through on Nathan. He just pulled, literally broke slightly in the straight there, and Neil was just like, yeah, that's for last time. Nathan obviously got the move done before they came into the pit lane, but Neil has got one back. He's on a set of mediums and has just flashed himself basically at Nathan. That sounds very wrong. Neo has got the move done and he's up into 12th. They do not want to flash themselves with each other, definitely not. Yildirim on the back of him, short though for 4th.
Yeah, well, I don't think you should have made that reference, considering the maturity of Spag and Jav is about maybe combined of a 13-year-old. So I think you made a huge mistake there, but you managed to get past, and just a little bit of a celebration coming up from Neo there, just letting them know, hey, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Schiavelli's into the pit lane from the lead of the race. I think what you were trying to say is he got the move done, obviously, Neo on Nathan, and he's up into 12th. Goodness me, I can't even get my words out now. Yildirim on the back of M Short. It's one of these nights, everyone. Yul Melmat on the back of Verstappen. Gets the move done down the inside. Easy pickings there for Yul Melmat, the German. He is through on the Dutchman, and he's up into 7th position. Can try and hunt down on Jojo. Actually, with Yul Melmat, he's on 4-lap old mediums. Are they going to get to the end of the race? Because 11 laps to go, basically. We'll take them to, 15 laps on a set of mediums? We only saw Wouter do 13, a couple of the guys do 14, 15. It's not impossible for there to be a puncture from him right at the end of the race. I think Verstappen's fine, I think Jojo's fine. Campbell and Neo could be in that sort of range as well, to be honest.
I think the most they can do is what Schiaparelli did. Well, he was right on the brink of probably getting a puncture at the end there, but he did 18 laps just under that on a set of medium compound tyres. So I do think these guys will most definitely be okay to go to the end. Whether they have the pace on hard runners is I'm not too sure about that one really. But one thing I've picked up on is this: there's too many JUs in this league. We've got Yildirim, Justas, and Yul Melman. We've been getting them confused all stream, so I do appreciate that. Speaking of Yul Melmat, he's coming under pressure from Verstappen. He's going to get one back on him and go up the inside and towards turn number 1. These two are going to be trying to slipstream off each other to bridge the gap to Zhao Zhao, who has broken away from them, and I don't think they're going to want to fight each other too much, but Verstappen, he's used up a lot of his resources. He's got 2% left on ERS, so very unfortunate for him there, as Yul Melmat almost dipping the tyre into the grass, probably going to lose himself a little bit of time.
Yeah, another Yul out on track. Yildirim on the back of M Short in 3rd position. Yildirim in 4th. Spag, by the way, missed the comment that I made earlier on in the stream.
Good.
He went to Division 4. It's a good job you did. Yildirim on the back of M Short. Montana leading though by 2 seconds. Alphatrix in 2nd. M Short in 3rd. Montana has got a real control over this race now, it seems. Alphatrix in 2nd. M Short 3rd. Yildirim in 4th. Justas not entirely out of this. He's been under the radar, I think, in this race so far. The Lithuanian, hopefully, going to be getting up towards the top end of the field. I feel a sneeze coming on. Yildirim is on the back of M Short. Luckily that sneeze has gone away. Yildirim on the back of M Short. Is M Short out of DRS? Yes. Yildirim, I don't think, though, is going to be close enough down the inside and towards turn 1. Yeah, look at him closing up, and he's not going to close up enough because the straight is looming, and there we are. M Short stays in 3rd. Yildirim stays in 4th. Yul Melmat trying to get onto the back of Verstappen, not really getting the move done as Zhao Zhao picks up a penalty.
Yeah. That's going to be really crucial for him because he is still closing up to the back of the train. He's only got about 5/10 of a second until he catches up to the rear of the DRS train, and then he can really start to push them to the limits. But now that he's picked up that 3-second time penalty, that is really going to cost him at the end of the race. If he can't pull a gap to any of these guys, he'll lose his position to potentially Verstappen as well in this race, and maybe actually Yul Melmat has 6 seconds of time penalty, so he will not be jumping Zhao Zhao at the end of this one. But yeah, I think Zhao Zhao, he might shot himself in the foot there.
Yeah, we saw an inter-team relentless battle as well out on track there. Rocco getting through on Wouter through, and he's up into 15th. No longer parking the bus, he's more on the attack, unlike Sunderland earlier on. Montana leading the way. Alphatrix in 2nd, M Short in 3rd. We've got 9 laps to go out on track. It's Montana who leads Alphatrix 2nd, M Short in 3rd. Nobody really close enough for a move. Normally when I say in commentary, first half of the race is normally quite boring. The second half is normally quite exciting. I don't think it is, because the second half of the race here, so far, apart from a few overtakes, it's been quite boring, if I've got to be honest. Yul Melmat obviously on the back of Verstappen, pretty much the closest battle, but it's not really closing enough to try and attack.
Yeah, I think it's been good that we've had Jav and Spag in the comments just to keep us entertained. But
Terrible.
Now I think the fight the fights could start going on here, because Zhao Zhao has slipped within DRS range of Justas in front of him. 9/10 of a second is the gap between the pair of them at the moment. That's going to mean that he will be able to utilise the drag reduction system, give him that little bit of straight line speed. And you can also see he's used up pretty much none of his well, he's used up quite a bit of his overtake, but he is on a purple lap at the moment, at least through the second sector. Could probably put in the fastest lap of this race, and then be on the back of the Lithuanian to attack.
Yeah, and there is Zhao Zhao out on track. He's in 6th, Justas in 5th. Obviously, set of mediums probably quicker than a set of hards at this stage, but there will come a point towards the end of the race where Zhao Zhao's tyres will be the same as the set of hards towards the end of this race. Montana leads the way, Alpha Truck 2nd, M Short in 3rd, Yulbreen 4th, Justas in 5th. We are in the quiet lull period out on track. Zhao Zhao there in 6th. Been really impressed, by the way, with Zhao Zhao's drive so far. Pretty much similar to TT Mel, where he was trying to dominate his way through the race there. Obviously, that was in wet conditions, full wet conditions around Silverstone. This entirely different, of course, being in Spain. But Zhao Zhao on the back just runs onto the grass there slightly, running out through turn 4, down into turn 5 at Repsol. But Zhao Zhao on the back. It's one thing to try and overtake, though, around this track. It's another thing to get past.
Yeah, there's not many overtaking opportunities around a circuit like this one, so I definitely think Zhao Zhao has got his work cut out from him. He can't make many mistakes like that when he did cost himself a bit of time to Verstappen, about 4/10 of a second with that little trip to the grass there. At this point in time, he is dropping the position to Verstappen, who will be in 6th. Of course, he does need to keep that 3-second window, so he does need to stay on his toes, but this time by Zhao Zhao's about 5/10 of a second back from Justas. Given that Justas has the DRS down the straightaway, I don't think he'll really be on the attack on the Lithuanians. Connor gets a 3-second time penalty. That's his second of the day. There's yellow flags. That's an AlphaTauri car, and I think it's Chapelele off. He DNF last time we came here, and well, yeah, he might make it. Yeah, he's got damage. He must have. I think he might have dropped it and then lost it on the outside, and he's into the pit lane.
Oh my god! He nearly crashed into the pit wall. Goodness me, Chapelele, heart and mouth moment. At the end, he's had to go on another lap out on track. But goodness me, that could have been an absolute disaster for Chapelele. He could have spawned a safety car later on. He locks up down in towards turn 1. Connor's round coming through turn 3. Or turn 4 even, sorry. And he's lost his front wing.
Huge damage. Completely gone for Connor there. VSC deployed. So we're not going to have the full course safety car, but it does allow for some of these guys to maybe charge up their battery a little bit, go on the attack towards the end of the race. They do have to follow a strict delta, which if they go over it, then they serve a drive-through penalty, which loses them about probably, off the top of my head, I think 17 seconds around the circuit. It's about 19 and a half when you're normally pitting. Take away that 2.5 gap for the pit stop. So there we go, we're back underway. Not to be taking advantage of the pit stop, because why would you so late in the race? But Yulbreen has had a brilliant restart, and he's right onto the back of M Short, coming down the straightaway. He's 1/10 off the back of Husky Chocolate in the McLaren car. Of course, the sponsor on the rear wing of the McLaren. He's still trying to attack him as yellow
Connor's
flags.
out.
Connor's in.
And that's into the pit wall. That is into the pit wall. Literally what Chapelele did. He's AI. He's lost his rear wheel actually out on the track.
That's happened a couple of times on this game. For some reason, when you lose your front tyres, if you make contact with that...
Goodness me, Chapelele nearly followed him into the pit wall as well.
Oh jeez, well it's all kicking off at that corner, at turn 15. I think Chapelele, I don't think he's actually going to retire here. I think he might as well just take away the points of some of his rivals. The fastest lap currently belongs to Verstappen at 16.7, so at least he could take some points away from him. Some points, I mean 1 point away from him, but yeah, fastest lap, he will be attempting it on a set of softs. He'll make it to the end, so why not? When you're not really losing anything from this. Hardy does manage to get past. He's been really running his own race, but fair play to him for not retiring. Of course, damage early on, and then the spin as well, completely costing his performance this week, as Yulbreen not close enough to get past them short.
Nathan's under pressure from D. Daniel for the final point scoring position as well. Jav loves to see this. D. Daniel on the back of Nathan, but the former LR man, who of course has left LR now a couple of weeks ago, is on the back of the newly formed relentless team of, well, with Nathan obviously being the driver in front of him, but the newly formed relentless team, of course. I'm sure Jav will appreciate me. I totally haven't been paid for shouting up the team in League of Europe. I might get wrong, you never know. Montana out on top, Alphatrix second, M Short in third. 4.5 laps to go if you are being picky. Montana leads, Alphatrix second, M Short in third. Jow though, on the back of Justas, has not found a way through whatsoever. He's 0.5 of a second off, pretty much around the same gap. But Jow will be hoping to try and get through at some point in the next few laps. This is the lull period. I think maybe 2 laps to go, it's still going to kick off. That's what I'm hoping.
I'd hope so. These drivers are going to get desperate for positions. I think one drop. What's going on in the Twitch chat?
I love you too, Jav. I love you too.
Oh, where's my love you? I'm quite disappointed at that one. Okay. I see how it is, Jav. You know, we founded the Hangman in INL when there was nothing going on. It was an evaluation race, and there was 9 drivers racing, and they all got separated out. It was terrible. We ended up playing Hangman, so that was lovely. But Jow, I think at this point, with just under 4 laps to go. All right then. Okay, I'm all right with that one then. I know where it is now.
Yeah, you were saying Jaja's on the back of Justas. 0.3 of a second. It's his closest he's ever been, to be honest, to the back of the Lithuanian in front. There's the rear wing of the car. There's the front wing of the car as we now run. Now with the cockpit cam running down in towards turn 10 once again. Montana still leads. 3 more laps to go after this one. Alphatrix in second, M Short in third. Montana's just controlled this race throughout. M Short, though, coming back to some form of his best. He's in third position at the minute. 0.9 of a second of Alphatrix. It's hard to see him trying to gain, but you never know what could happen in the final couple of laps. Chapelelli has gained on Hardy. He sets a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.5, nearly a second quicker, I think, than Verstappen on that fastest lap. Jow now in the slipstream of Justas, closing in all the way down in towards turn 1. I don't think that he's going to launch an attack down the inside. No, he doesn't. Nathan, unfortunately for Relentless, well, there's no love shared there. D. Daniel Thurney's in for 11th.
Yeah, he's now in 12th position. He's got quite a gap as Jow trying to go up the inside at turn 4 there, but he's not managed to make that one stick. He's really getting anxious in this race that he needs to go for this move. He's not losing the position to Verstappen at this point because he's 3.3 seconds back. He needs to be within 3 seconds to be able to jump his fellow countrymen, but I think Jow just feeling the pressure of the time that he did have before, and is now no longer with him. He wants to try and get past Justas, but it is just impossible in the DRS train to make any meaningful gains down a straightaway unless you're right up close and personal behind someone and you're using up your overtake. It's so tricky to make a move stick.
Actually, Yulbream has just dropped out of the 1 second range to DRS ahead of M Short. He's coming back to Justas. This is going to help Justas. More importantly, this is going to help Jow. And look at him, deploying that overtake mode, coming out the final corner, and he's now going to close in on him, running down in towards turn 1. 2 laps to go here in Spain. Montana leads, Alphatrix second, M Short right on the back down in the hill. Down the hill in towards turn 1. Jow dives it down the inside. That is late and committed on the brakes. He absolutely sent that one down the inside, and Jow, I should say, is through, and he's into 5th position. God, I'm getting mixed up with my drivers. Jow through, and he's into 5th position. Signed, sealed, and delivered. He absolutely delivered on that one. Daniel Ricciardo West down the inside.
Yeah, and that's a really difficult corner to make a send like he did there. You're about 150 kilometers per hour at the apex of that corner, so it's not a corner you can completely dive up the inside. I think he'll make easier work of Yulbream in front of him. Whether he can extend the gap by a second on the final lap, by 3 seconds, but on the drivers behind him, I'm not too sure he can make that one stick, but coming through to begin the final sector. Right, okay.
Schiaparelli's on the back of Hardy, by the way. I'll cut off here. Schiaparelli's on the back of Hardy, running for P16 and 17. Still a battle, though, out on track. And the German looks the inside. Oh, he actually rear-ends Hardy down the straight. I think that was miscommitment there from Schiaparelli. That didn't really work, did it? Yeah. Jajo's on the back of Yulbrim, though, down in towards someone, gets the move done. He is through, and he's into fourth position, making giant strides through the field. I don't think he's going to get him short. He is going to drop down as a result of positions, but Schiaparelli rear-ending Hardy. He is through. Daniel is through on Neo as well. It's all kicking up. Final lap of the race. Daniel through, and he's into P10.
And Alphatrix, he has managed to close up to Montana in the last couple of laps, but it's just too little too late. I think Montana's probably backed off a little bit as well, just to really save himself, I suppose, from possibly getting a penalty. Might have been on 2 warnings in the end, but this has been a really strong drive from the Swissman, breaking the deadlock. If he does end up winning this race, of course he's got one more sector to navigate, it's pretty likely he'll win, but both himself and M Short are currently on 3 wins. It's now going to be 4 for Montana if he wins this race and cross the line in the lead.
Yeah, Montana coming through the final couple of corners, then out on track, and Montana now coming through 14, then through 15 with the pack chasing them down. It's not going to be enough. Schiaparelli's into the pit lane, by the way. Montana comes across the line to win in Spain, and it's his 4th win of the season, 3 times in 4 races as well. Alphatrix in 2nd, M Short in 3rd, Yulbrim, great race from him in 4th, with Justas in 5th, Jajo in the end down in 6th, Verstappen in 7th, Yul Melmat actually jumped by Daniel Neo, so Daniel Neo up into P8 and P9, Yul Melmat 10th, Campbell in 11th, Nathan in 12th, Rocco round the final corner to finish in 13th. A little bit of a disaster from him in terms of strategy. Comes across the line to finish in 13th. Wouter across the line to finish in 14th. Josh across the line to finish in 15th. And now we're waiting until the next side of the new year for Hardy.
Yep, and Schiaparelli did finish a lap down in the end, so he won't be across the line. But we can watch. Huh?
Why is there a road sweeper going past my house? That's really strange.
I couldn't answer that one. Outside my house, beautiful sunset at the moment. You don't really get that too often. It's normally just cloudy here in London. But Hardy through the final sector. It's not been a good race at all. It was completely doomed from the start when he did have that spin. And yeah, through the final corner, gotta give him commendation as he spins across the line. I'm surprised he didn't want to retire that car, because he was about 40 seconds off the back of anyone else throughout the entire race, and he stayed committed towards the end.
Driver of the day, voted by the in-game fans as well. Jiao Jiao has been voted in-game driver of the day. Jav's saying, look at the relentless boys holding hands. What a lovely sight. I know. I might have to get the tissues out, but there we are. To the top step of the podium goes Montana, out on track, a 3rd win in 4 races, and he's now he is still the championship leader, obviously, and extending his championship lead as a result over his nearest rivals, Alphatrix and M Short, out on track. A really good drive from Montana. Dominance in the end, obviously closed up to within a second, but Alphatrix 2nd and M Short in 3rd to round off what has been a pretty average race here in Spain. Montana out on top from Alphatrix in 2nd, M Short in 3rd, Yulbrim in 4th, Justas in 5th, Jojo 6th, Verstappen in 7th, Daniel 8th, Neo in 9th, Yul Melmat running off the top 10 on debut, Campbell 11th with Nathan in 12th, Rocco 13th, Wouter in 14th, they are indeed holding hands, Josh in 15th, Hardy 16th, Schiaparelli and Connor the only DNF out on track. Schiaparelli a lap down, Connor DNFing of course after his crash into the pit wall coming through the final corner. Obviously I think he got caught on the outside curb for him to do that. But Montana extends his championship lead over M Short out on track, and how crucial is that going forward into Bahrain next week?
Is going to be really important for Montana to keep this momentum up, because he did not have a good start to the season. He's finally got some traction beneath him, and he's really made a charge. And I think just for these next 2 or 3 races, he's going to want to create a nice buffer to M Short, and then probably slow down towards the end, let M Short catch up, then finish it off as soon as he can. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the Spanish Grand Prix. I think a little bit of normality was what we needed after a crazy Japanese Grand Prix. I think we definitely did need the bit of a quieter race, I'd say.
Yeah, normality resumed, I think it's fair to say here in LOE in Division 1. And of course, I'll be back on Monday night to take you through the action for League of Europe Formula 2. Michael Edwards, of course, joining me in the commentary box for that one. But that is the end for tonight here in League of Europe, not in TTML, as I was about to say, in League of Europe Division 1. Fantastic racing, of course, by everyone out on track for the most part. Dan, I'll come across to you. Who would you drive of the day?
Oh, my driver of the day, I'd say Zhao Zhao was definitely up there for making his charge. Of course, the penalty did drop him down behind Yilbrim and Justas in the end, but I certainly think he is a candidate. I'd also think that that Montana, just the way that he controlled the race since the very beginning, it was really, really strong from him. He didn't lead every lap of the Grand Prix, of course, since he did make a pit stop, but he was pretty much ahead of his rivals throughout the entire Grand Prix.
Yeah, Montana, by the way, equals... Sir Ibble posted this in Rick's stats. Montana, I was going to say Sir Ibble, equals Montana. That would be brilliant if that was the case. Montana equals B. Morgan in terms of most wins around here in Spain. Season 1 and Season 2, B. Morgan. Season 2, Division 1, of course, Montana. And now he can add Season 5 to that tally as well. Now I'll give my drive of the day as well to Zhao Zhao. I think it was a really good drive from him from 18th on the grid. Got a bit lucky, of course, in the start, but a very good drive. Watch out for him if he's up the top end of the field in Bahrain next time. But we'll get off the air before Division 2 and Division 5 start. Of course, they're starting in just 10 minutes' time. Thank you so much for tuning in to League of Europe Division 1. I've been James Said. He's been Daniel Field. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world we all live in. And until next time, goodbye.